First of all, we're very excited about the approval of DAYBUE or trofinetide for the treatment of Rett syndrome in adults as well as children aged 2 years and older. Now, a key trial that supported this approval was the LAVENDER trial. It is a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial, which was conducted in the United States with 187 patients with Rett syndrome. Their ages range from 5 to 20 years of age. And it was 12 weeks in duration. And there were 187 patients enrolled, half of whom received DAYBUE or trofinetide, and the other half received placebo. Now, the drug was administered it was an oral solution, and it was administered in the morning and evening, so twice a day, and was based on weight. Now, the two, as far as efficacy, that was assessed based on two co-primary endpoints. And let me first describe the first endpoint, which is called the RSBQ, or the Rett Syndrome Behavioral Questionnaire. This is a scale that has been used in other Rett clinical research trials, and it is a scale that's assessed by the caregiver. And it assesses 45 items which reflect different symptoms of Rett syndrome. This includes facial expression, eye gaze, repetitive hand movements or stereotypies, nighttime behaviors. And the caregiver is asked to assess each item on a 3-point scale in response to questions related to the symptoms. If it was 0, not true, 1 is often true, and 2 is, 0 is not true, 1 is sometimes true, and 2 is often true, as related to those symptoms. And each item is then, the score for each item is then summed up into a total score. And this total score and the change from baseline to week 12 was the primary endpoint. And this showed a statistically significant difference in favor of trofinetide versus placebo. Now, the other secondary endpoint, as compared to RSBQ, which was assessed by the caregiver, this was assessed by the clinician. And this scale is called the clinician's global impression of improvement. Basically, it really reflects what a clinician does in their daily practice, is to look at the symptoms of Rett and assess, has there been worsening or has there been improvement on a 7-point scale? And at 12 weeks, when the clinicians made their assessment, it did show a statistically significant difference that favored DAYBUE or trofinetide versus placebo. So this is important because both co-primary endpoints showed differences that favored trofinetide versus placebo. Now, with regards to tolerability and safety, the most common adverse events that were reported in the trial were diarrhea and vomiting. Diarrhea occurred in 82% of patients on trofinetide versus 19% on placebo. Vomiting occurred in about 27% of patients on trofinetide versus 10% on placebo. Now, it's important to note that majority of these symptoms were mild to moderate in severity, and the majority did not lead to discontinuations. Another symptom that is included in the prescribing information is weight loss. If there's 7% or more change in baseline. And now this was included in the label because, these children are often lower in weight to begin with. And so that was included also in the label to just so the patients and clinicians and their caregivers can continue to monitor that particular symptom. We got FDA approval for DAYBUE on March 10th, and the drug will be available for prescription by clinicians by the end of April of this year.